All right. It's Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern, and I'm here at 42 West 18th Street. This is not a green screen. That is Adorama, and this is Jerry Ghionis. We're going to get into this mythical beast here in a second. But first, I just want to say a quick thank you to Gotham Roasters. Actually, you know what? Before I do Gotham, let me do thanks Westcott for sponsoring this, and we're going to be talking about Jerry's new Ice Light 3. If you've known about the Ice Light, it's been around forever, and now the newest version is here. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Plus, there will be a demo at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Events channel using the Ice Light 3. But if you don't know Westcott, I think they're one of the most legacy brands out there. They've been known for a lot of stuff in this industry, from the Flex panels, the Apollos. I mean, now they have the FJ400 Mark II, the FJ800, their strobe system. I mean, they've been around for a very long time, and for good reason. So, Joe, check out the links down below for the full Westcott line. You can even see a live stream I did with the new Westcott strobes on the Adorama Events channel. Blah, 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 right? And I want to thank Gotham Roasters. They're always hooking us up with coffee. They're on the next block. Cheers, kid.
Cheers.
What'd you get?
I got a cappuccino with 2 sugars.
See how elegant this guy is? I just get dark black cold brew, you know? Just do it, you know? But if you're going to head over here for a demo or something like that, go see Gotham Roasters on 19th Street. It's owned by a photographer and filmmaker. So you're supporting the community, and they support us. So go tell them we sent you. All right, enough of that stuff. Bada bing. Jerry Ghionis, who is this guy? Well, who isn't this guy? I feel like everywhere he goes, he has a massive presence. He's done a lot for the community as a whole, from the print competition to classes to workshops, everything in between. We're talking about fashion. We're talking about wedding. We're talking about music videos, directing, not just stills, but also video. He's an Nikon ambassador for as long as I can remember, honestly. I think as you've just been, anytime you've been mentioned, I feel like I've seen you through a Nikon portal of some kind. But the work that Jerry puts out there is well known, it's prolific, and it's just straight up beautiful. So, Jerry, welcome to Call for Creators, man.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for being here. Man, that was quite an introduction. And I thought I could talk, but Seth, you speak beautifully.
Oh, man.
And I just found out why, because your father is Greek. So I've got a Greek background as well. So, but the difference is that you have that ginger hair going on there. I'm not too sure what's going on with that.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from either.
But it's beautiful.
It's here.
I like it. It looks good on you.
Well, it's funny because the last 3 times I've seen you, I say your name. You're like, you're the only one that says my name right. And
well,
I'm
now
like,
I know why. It's Ghionis. Like that's the proper pronunciation in Greek, but the Anglo way is Ghionis. So that's yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, I think first of all, I think names are like the key to the first establishment of a connection. So we have to do in our confession is someone comes to us in the 30 seconds, we've got to know them, right? Right. And just learning someone's name is just a leap and bound above, okay, let's get this done. Right. And Gary Hughes is like a big component of that. He was like, listen, it's the first thing you learn as a kid. It ties to everything. It'll keep your attention. Like, how hard is it to just make a point of learning someone's name? So I think, as I would say, colleagues, I don't know what we are anymore, but
we're friends. We haven't spooned yet, but you know.
I mean, you're like 2 inches taller than me, so he's gonna be like a big spoon. I'm gonna feel weird. But also, guys, what's going on in that chat? This is just so you know, we're live for a reason. So if you have any questions, please throw them in the chat. We'll grab them as we can. And Neil is saying, "What? Where am I?" Neil is saying, "Have really missed Jerry on YouTube. He's one of the greatest. The greatest, really? Come on." Do you just get your ego fed everywhere you go?
As long as I'm a hero to my wife, everyone else is second. So that's really all it is.
You are quite a team. I will say I've seen a lot of demos where she's running backup for you and she's always there. You're very in sync, obviously. But I've also seen just on the fly, I forgot where it was or what it was, but you were shooting a model and all of a sudden she grabbed, I think it was like branches out of a tree that was somewhere. And next thing you know, we had this background. And I was like, yes. Like, that's amazing. But she knew that she knew you were already looking for something to fill that space in the back, and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So how do you feel, what do you think it takes to develop some kind of relationship like that with someone that's assisting that you aren't married to? Because you had like a cheat code on that one. So do you feel that like assistance, you need that kind of chemistry? And how do you build that kind of chemistry?
You know, I think that where most people get it wrong is that if you try to be someone to be a good assistant for you, you expect them to be as good as you and understand everything that you're thinking and why you're thinking it. So I build those relationships on trust, people that I know, and then you have to spoon feed them. Never assume exactly that they will know what you want when you want it. It's a typical example. Let's say I was always given my camera like with the lens. I'm like, and just one day I'm like, I was sick of grabbing the lens because then I might change a setting as I'm getting the lens back. But I'm like, I want the camera given to me so I can just grab the handle and the grip. Simple as that. And on my first wedding, and actually speaking about Melissa, she dropped a 7 to 200 millimeter lens and broke it. And she's mortified, saying, this is the first wedding I've actually assisted Jerry on. She was like, we're going to break up. Oh my God. I said, it's on your lens. I don't care. It's a thing. We can replace it.
Yeah.
I don't get funny about that kind of stuff. But ultimately, you've just got to spoon feed exactly what you want and when you want it and how you want it, and never assume anything. If it's an event like a wedding, plan it like a military operation. Like, hey, I'm going to be covering this angle, you're covering this angle, but always keep your eyes on me. If I look at you and I don't make a gesture, you're fine, but always look out for me in between your shots. If I look at you and I nod or I do this, it means I can't cover what's happening over there, and so on and so forth. So, and ultimately it looks professional in front of clients. If you know what you're doing and how you're doing it and you look like a well-oiled machine, it's part of the experience. The better the experience, the more enduring the memory, the better value, the more money people will spend.
God damn, look at these dominoes he's laying down. Well, yeah, it's funny that the military strategy, Joe once told me I'm the only guy he knows that sounds like I'm getting into a fight when I talk about a shoot I got coming up. But I look at it like it's a challenge. What's your solution? What's the strategy? What would I go about this? And like,
right.
It's an uphill, but I also think when you're showing what you're showing in front of a client, it shows that you're experienced. You're not like, how do we go about this? I've never been in this situation. What do we do? Right. No, you're like, boom, nope. Yes, this wedding might not have taken in this place before, but you know, if it's backlit this, if I want to get that in the shot this, if I want more of the church or whatever, like you have been, just not that specific one.
Right.
And I think that's what we try to teach here, at least. Like, we build a deck of cards. You're never going to be in the same situation, but you can go through that deck that you had of experience and going like,
sure.
All right, so it's going to be hard light and I got, this type of model with wearing this type of fabric. That should work out. And you probably lay that out for your assistants and not even realize it.
Well, it's interesting because I spent half of my life with no assistants. So I did most things myself. And that was in the old days, and I'm showing my age here, but with the Mamiya RB67, which was 10 shots per roll of film.
And it was a tank.
And everything was on a tripod. Everything had a METS flash on there. And that's how you did it. And everything had a light meter to it. And the crazy thing is that as I speak this current sentence that I'm speaking, I could have taken 1,000 photographs, which freaks me out. And I say, if you can't get a decent photograph with a current crop of cameras everywhere we see in this store, you suck. I mean...
No, I think some people, and I'll tell you when the shots suck, when they start leaving up to the camera.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, for me, I freak out. And maybe this, again, it was my age showing, but when I see people holding a mirrorless like this out in front of them, and I know that, okay, iFocus can take care of most shots, but when you're holding a camera a foot away from your face, how do you critically see what's composed? How do you check that the right eye is in focus and all that kind of stuff? And I'm saying you can't. So the difference between good and great is those little 1%ers, as we call them in Australia. So inches turn into miles. And the question is, are you acknowledging those inches, or are you just trying to reach for the miles without even looking what's in front of you?
It's true. And I think a lot of people forget that it's not about getting to the shutter button fast. It's about figuring it out when you got to get to that shutter button.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot of studio work, so the last thing I pick up is the camera.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out everything else. That camera's the last piece of that puzzle.
Right.
But I think when we get to a place of the technology, people just look at, well, there's 1 million frames per second. One of them's got to be good. Oh, it's going to find the subject for me. Well, what if there's multiple subjects and it's not picking the one you want? Or like all these modes and things, and they think that that's where it all is. And it's probably made people faster at getting to an end result and like maybe understanding what they want out of a shot. But I'll tell you, man, like when you leave it up to what engineers put in that camera instead of you utilizing the tools, you could have come out with something a little more sophisticated, a little more elegant, a little more worth looking at, I'll say.
Right. There's so many people that don't even read their camera manual. I know that sounds so basic. At the very least, go on YouTube and actually watch someone who went through the manual for you in the genre that you actually specialize in.
Right.
But there's just a handful of things that if you'll know how to get to the destination a lot quicker. But I think the biggest mistake that photographers make, whether it's a hobbyist or whether it's a semi-professional pro, is they go too quick. They
don't put thought into it.
There's no, let's say, for example, there's no intent. Like, let's say you're doing a portrait of a client and she's getting hair and makeup done. Now, this is a girl that basically said to you, I want to look natural. Now, there's the oxymoron right there. I want to look natural, so I'm going to go spend 2 hours doing hair and makeup. Okay, so there's the anomaly there. And then they're in front of your camera. Make me look natural. Well, what does that mean? Sit in front of the TV watching Netflix as I photograph you? So there is an element of fantasy and creativity there, creative license given to us. So all of a sudden we think that if the clients, if we don't go too fast or start quickly, that they think it's a sign of lack of experience.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
And it couldn't be further from the case, in the sense that if you take your time, enjoy the process, and make them a mini expert, as in, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it. You know, even your tone of voice changes. And then all of a sudden you develop a certain energy. And then although you might start later than most photographers, you get to the destination a lot quicker. And then if you shoot to sell, then you end up being very, very fruitful. And it's an incredible dance. At the same time, if I had a corporate headshot I had to do, and it's just a no crap, just get it done, in and out, whatever, then I'm going to mirror their energy.
Right.
So the efficiency part of it will be, I'll practice on a mannequin before they even get there. I'll know their kind of face. I'll know whether it's broad lighting, split lighting, what color background. I'll test it. And within 10 seconds sometimes, or literally a minute, I'm done. Show them the shot, they're happy. Then that is equally as valuable as that 2, 3, 4 hour experience.
Oh no, the actual experience of what they're going through when they're with you is the whole thing for me. Like, yeah, they know, they went to you, they saw the portfolio, they're gonna get the shot. But if you're someone that goes at a slow pace when you're getting into it, as long as you're not, what I see a lot of photographers do, especially new photographers, they're stuck in their head, and they're talking to themselves in their head. Stop.
Right.
I'm going to go grab a beauty dish now because I think this will work for this, and this is why. And when it's 8-ball corner pocket, you got the trust. Once you got the trust, you get that better shot, because you're going to see those people letting their guard down, letting you do what you got to do. They're going to be themselves. You're going to get, what's that? Oh, portrait. You let them portray themselves. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you get that stiff corporate junk, and it's like,
right.
And there's a difference between someone pointing a lens and a light at someone, getting a T-tail exposure and going,
right,
and actually getting a photograph. And I think that's what people strive for. Luckily, you have a very, very in-depth portfolio. So when you are approaching a newer subject, there's already a trust level when they see how much you've done for how many years. For new photographers, they don't have that. And I think that's where they have to take a step back and maybe not chase all the clients. Go shoot and build and build and build.
Oh,
so
100%.
That you can put it out there.
Yeah.
There are some questions in the chat, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please go for it.
Jerry is Mr. 105 Macro. Is that like a nickname for you?
No, so it's a funny question. So basically, when I was at Nikon headquarters for an Ambassador Summit a few months ago, they filmed a series called Ambassadors on Ambassadors. Right, like, you know, like the actors on actors, that kind of thing. So they put Tamara Lackey and I together. We're great friends. We love to vibe and joke around, all that kind of stuff. So there I was. I'm like, guys, are we starting now? They said yes. And there was a coffee table right in front. So I lay on the coffee table, and then Tamara lay on top of me. So like, aren't we doing Ambassadors on Ambassadors?
Damn.
So we just thought it was funny as hell.
Not at night.
We thought it was funny as hell, but we knew that they were never going to post it. So that was the first inkling of it. Anyway, so we're like, we both have a good sense of humor. And then, so we started off with a question, and I asked Tamara, if you were a lens, what would you be and why? And she says, the 85-1.2, because I'm very, very sharp, but sometimes often very shallow. Now, I didn't have my answer because I didn't even know that she was going to ask me the same question back. She says, well, what would you be? And then you see me in the video just pause, and I'm like, I'm the 105 macro because I'm beautiful from far and even more beautiful up close.
Damn. That's so smooth. I have no answer for that. I love that lens, by the way. But
so that's why I'm sure that's why that question is being asked of me there.
What lens would I be is what you're asking? I don't know. I'm trying not to think of like my favorite. 24-120. I'm cheap. I'm a workhorse. I'm versatile. I'm fast, and everybody can get something out of it.
I was going to answer the same thing, but without being the cheap part. So I don't want to disrespect you.
Anthony G's asking, so the wedding industry should be safe as far as AI photography, but what with your portrait work? Are you intimidated by AI at all?
I am not intimidated by AI with the stuff that I do, because I think in the wedding and the portrait space and the domestic photography space, there is always a market for something that's flattering and meaningful. If you're in the commercial space, be wary. If you're in the headshot space, be wary. Certainly the experience of the shoots that you do go with it. But your corporate companies, if they can upload a decent photograph and get something that's saleable, good enough is good enough for most people. And if they don't know any better, they don't know any better. I think that we just have to be realistic about it. I like to call it JI, Jerry Intelligence. Like you're not going to beat, you like that? You're not going to, you know, if someone wants me, they want me. If good enough is good enough for someone else, that's totally fine.
Well,
so,
it's
you know,
like anything else, I think, first of all, they have to want something of quality. If
Sure.
they're going to McDonald's, they're not looking for a filet mignon anywhere, or whatever, right? So you have to look for the market that's looking to buy what you're selling.
Sure.
You know, I guess the question is, do you think that market, it will always be there?
Look, there'll be robots doing podcasts, and if they're not already, that understand people's names and understand how they feel, the reactive nature of it. Trust me, I'm involved in a couple of things at the moment which would just blow your mind. And you'll know in the next couple of years, whatever, with what's happening. Well, it's the ability to be mentored by a mentor that's not even speaking to you, where a mentor gets to choose. Like now you Google Seth and you can see all the things you learned from Seth. But if you chose what you wanted people to learn and know from you, whether you're alive or not, that's how powerful AI is going to be and will be, that people could be mentored by you for the rest of time with AI. So it's pretty insane. All I'm saying, though, is that in a world that's craving authenticity, like we're dying for just being able to sit here and chat in person, see your expression, have a laugh together. For me, it doesn't beat it. Like, speaking of Gary Hughes, one time he talked about the idea of tribal learning, the ability to tribally learn. And that's what WPPI is and many other conventions that are together. And the fact is that we're all, you know, many of us, even before we get out of bed, we're scrolling through imagery, wondering why our life isn't as better as somebody else's, or why our photographs aren't as good as somebody else's. Before we even get out of bed, that conditions our brain is that we're not good enough. Yeah. And then you spend the whole day trying to catch up to yourself. There's some days, weeks, and months, no joke, I do not look at social media at all. I've reluctantly got a decent following, but if I tried, it's just, I'm so happy with my life. I'm happy with I'm very, very present. I'm the same way with my clients. I get the goosebumps from the process of creating, not their validation. Jerry, attaboy, you did a great job. So it makes me happy all the time because I'm not missing or lacking for something. There's a lot to unpack, though, I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll be honest. Every time I've seen you, when you see Jerry coming, you know there's going to be a laugh. He's going to be upbeat. He's going to have energy. He's going to say something prolific to you, and that you're going to be like, you're going to think about it again after it's left you. But to get to that place, you have to be in a place of your own where you're okay with your life. Not that this is like a life coaching podcast, but a lot of people end up getting into creative arts because they're trying to find like a therapeutic way to get something out of themselves.
Sure.
The difference for what we do is there's this weird line between the creative and a service.
Sure.
And there's not a lot of art forms that are like that most of the times, and especially if you want to make a living at it. So if you're doing corporate headshots, 6,000 headshots for an event, is like, yeah, it'll eat your soul up because you don't care about it. But if you're in the idea of, I always try to remind myself, like, I could be in a cubicle, hating my life, wearing a tie for somebody else.
Right.
And this is not an easy, this is not an easy industry, easy craft. Everything you guys have seen me do is not easy, but that's where I find the honor. If it's easy and I'm coming through on it, why the hell am I doing it? I want to walk out of whatever I just did and be like, I just got up half a step, a little bit of a level. And if you're not striving for that,
right,
it's your problem.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
If you want to teach a man strength, you don't give them something easy to do. And if you want to teach a man patience, you don't give them something quick to do.
Yeah.
So the fact that we can still be here, like now, this is my 31st year in business. It's my 25th year in teaching. You know, for me, that's my own personal success. Someone starting, if they can be a successful photographer in 6 months, it's fantastic. They shouldn't have to have gone through what I or you went through to get there. That being said, there is a charm about, you know, getting, every poet needs the pain, right? Bon Jovi said. So you know, the ability to experience some of that pain is important. It makes you enduring, you know.
Yeah, in the end, you just have to want to do it. Otherwise, it's just another thing. It's not something you're connected to. It's just, you could be doing any other job.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I think that, and it gets disheartening, I think, when people just see more automation to something that used to be more crafted. But hey, there's people out there at WPPI. We had Matthew Stella in our booth shooting large format as a demo. Nothing you could sell you, not selling you that camera.
Right.
I mean, but it still exists. You can make whatever you want to make out of it. Whether you make a living, you're going to have to figure out, some of that.
Yeah.
There's a question for you from Mr. A. Jerry, what did you learn in the last 5 years? And you can share with us the last 5 years. What did you learn?
Well, I mean, COVID happened, obviously. I almost died in COVID. I was one of the OGs. So,
you just said that ridiculously casually. I almost died.
No, and also I was one of the first in our industry to have it. So what happened was after WPPI, I actually heard of some friends from China and said, whatever you're hearing on the radio, news, whatever, it's a lot worse than you think. Prepare, and get food, do whatever, and all that kind of stuff. So I did, and I think that's where I got COVID. I wasn't like hoarding toilet paper and all that stuff. No, I was like, no, if the worst happened, could I live on my own for 6 months without any help? Long story short, I got COVID, like really bad, to the point where my temperature was like 106, 107. My feet were freezing. My blood was boiling. I've never felt anything like it. And my feet, I could hardly feel my feet. My resting heart rate was like, I don't know, it was like 130, 140, just literally doing nothing. And I remember saying goodbye to Melissa as I went into the doctor, and they didn't have any treatments at that point. This was like early March 20, I think it was. And I thought, shit, I mean, I might never see Melissa again. This might be it. And then they had 2 gallons of saline put in me. I was that high. I mean, look at a gallon and imagine putting that in a person.
Yeah.
Then I'm there for like 4, 5, 6 hours, and I could see the top of Melissa's car, and all I wanted to do was just see her face. And then I didn't want to see her face. Then I photographed myself in case it was the last photograph that I've ever taken. So I took a photo of myself, didn't share it for 2 years to Melissa, but there's all these little things popping out of my head and these things attached to me and whatever, and this drip sort of going. And so, and then they wanted to put me on a ventilator. And I'm like, I heard a stat that day that they said 4 out of 5 people don't come off it alive. So if I'm going to die, I'm going to die in my wife's arms with my puppies around me, and not a bad death. So I went back, I realized and breathing in, and when you hit the ceiling halfway in your lung capacity, like you can breathe in fully, but when you go and there's nothing left, it's like, oh, that's a bit disconcerting. And then, so I was in bed for like 14 weeks, and it was tough.
Jeez.
So, and I started hearing these murmurs of people not believing it, even in like every industry had their own people waving a flag. This is not real, blah, blah, blah. So then I walked to the top of the pool area where we often relax, and I hadn't spoken anything for weeks. And I did a Facebook Live, and I felt it as a responsibility to me, to my community. It's like, guys, I know a lot of you have been reaching out to Melissa. I just want to let you know I'm alive. It's tough, but believe this, you don't want this. My skin was sensitive. The hair follicles were sensitive. The smell and taste had gone for a long time. I just said, whatever you guys think or believe, just if you trust me, you know me, just know that this is going to happen. This could happen to you. Just be safe. And then by the end of it, I was huffing and puffing because I hadn't spoken enough, so my lung capacity wasn't as good. Now, I don't want to get people down. I guess what I'm trying to say is that having gone through that, along with the recovery, I lost a quarter of my life that year. And then I doubled down. Then when I did get better, I started shooting performers because performers were out of work. I'm living in Vegas, and I produced this incredible body of work. So from that pain came this beautiful poetry, and I've literally invented for myself a whole new art form. I do weddings still, but nowhere near as many as I do. And now I pretty much can photograph anything to do with people. But I mean, I'm always a present person. For those who know me, I'm very, very present. I eat slow. I do everything slow. I want to enjoy life, but realizing it could be the last time I'm here. But that's why I'm saying I look at people sometimes where they're so reliant on other people's validation for their success, and they're so reliant on the applause from their clients, and they rob themselves of the joy that they could have the entire process of creating. So it reinforced who and what I already was, and now every day's a gift, man. Every day's a gift.
It's hard to get to a place where that you can get to that idea of it. I mean, especially when I got a lot of kids that fill these chairs. I mean, NYU, Parsons, whatever, young kids, 18, whatever. They're raised on putting something out there and counting likes, seeing what comments come back. To be conditioned that young is crazy. When I was that age, I was giving books of slides to editors trying to get somewhere and just hoping one guy in a room was saying like, yeah, it's cool.
Good. Yeah.
But I tried telling them, now you don't got to go do that. You can build your own platform, your own self-publication, the gatekeeping. Yes, there's echelons to hit, amazing organizations and publications, but you can go out there and build something yourself. You don't need someone to tell you you're good enough.
100%.
You know, people we probably missed out on in the world because it was gate kept from some editor that didn't want to give them a free pass to something. And I'm grateful for the editors over the years that gave me a shot. But if you don't give yourself the shot, you're not going anywhere, period. It starts with you. Everything always starts with you. And it's crazy to hear how much they really need right away to know if it was okay. Was this good?
Right.
Can I go forward? Like, it's been 5 seconds. Let's breathe for a
Calm your farm, as we say in Australia.
Calm your farm.
Now you're going to say calm your farm.
Calm your farm.
Calm your farm. See, if you you married?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know.
If you're married or got a partner, you never tell a woman to calm down. You're done with. She will slash you with a ninja sword or ninja little star. But calm your farm. No, everyone. It just sounds so funny. Everyone's cool with it. So
I just tell people to breathe. I never tell people to calm. Like breathe. That's right. Breathe. We'll get through this. I always tell people we'll get through this together. That's my whole thing. Like, yeah, we'll get through it together.
This is the thing too, though, Seth, is that I believe that no one's opinion of you should affect your opinion of you. And that's not coming from an egotistical perspective at all. It doesn't matter at all. In the end, does someone truly know who you are? Yep. Even the closest partner might not know everything about you. But all I'm saying is that if your validation or your self-worth is based upon how good you are in comparison to anybody else, then how fulfilling is that life? And I remember I had a landscape photographer said to me, Jerry, what do I do in a world where Peter Lick has achieved everything that I've ever wanted to achieve?
Peter Lick, wow.
He's probably the most commercially successful photographer in the history of the world.
His images are amazing. If you've never seen Peter Lick stuff, he actually has stores
all around Vegas. I'm saying
Soho, I think there's one.
Like, probably made the most amount of money selling his work of anyone that I would know. But he said, well, why would I even start or continue in this industry when he's already achieved it? So then I said to him, as I was mentoring him, and I said, well, so he's climbed Mount Everest. He says, well, yes. I said, well, don't you want to see what the view looks like from up there? And then he rattled off a few curse words in a good way. And I said, well, then go see what it looks like from up there.
Yeah, people think like there's only a certain amount of spots for something. It's like there's so, oh my God, it drives me crazy. Whenever someone, so we got a saying in Brooklyn, if someone says to me what they think about, it's like, who are you? That's why. Who are you?
Who are you?
What are you doing?
Who are you?
What? Why should I care? Who are you? What? Why? And then they get off guard and like, tell me why I should understand why my life should be affected by what you think about what I just did. Who are you and what are you giving me if you like it anyway?
Yeah.
So
that was gangster, man. I like that.
I mean,
that could have been a meme right there.
Forget about it. It's what we do. It's what we do. You're in New York, baby. What am I gonna do? I gotta get you.
Forget about it.
I gotta get him some real pastrami. I gotta get him some real pizza. You know. But it's really what crazy is that people don't understand when there's, especially at like WPPI or imaging or all these trade shows, they think like wiring on that stage. I'm like, do you have any idea what it took to get that person to that stage where they are trusted enough to even have the ability to get 800 people to sit in a chair to listen to what they're going to share? Like, it's not the hour, it's the decades it took to get to that hour. And I don't think people understand that. And I try not to get lost in that when I'm given those opportunities.
Right.
But I mean, Teresa will know, I'll probably be the first one, like, oh, they want me to do it. I got to lug all this gear. I'm always like bitching about it. But in the end, when you get up there, you're like, oh man.
It's a privilege, yeah.
It's a privilege.
Yeah.
And you have to be celebratory of yourself in some way. It's never going to be enough from other people. It never is. It's never enough from other people. But I can say street cred is like everything to me. Respect is everything to me. Colleague respect. People that are going through the same thing as me that are on a level, that is everything to me. And I think we don't see that so much because we're reading comments. We're not, you know, and you're not on sets sweating together anymore. And
right.
I mean, you and me, we probably came from the same, like assisting people, you know, trying to really, people just watch a YouTube video and they're charging clients the next day, right?
Yeah.
It's a new world, but do you ever think like one method is better than the other? Do you think like being faster is pertinent now? I know you just said you slow down, but if you're not at the speed of today, what are you doing today?
Oh man, it's I think the best shortcut, if you read any business book, almost one of the first chapters in every business book will say, if you want a shortcut to success, is learn from someone who's been there before you learn from a mentor that's made the mistakes, had the successes, and that's the quickest way to success. Now, at the end of the day, can you do that via a book? Can you do it digitally? Sure. And often we have no choice because you might be isolated. But that's the thing is most photographers who start, they want to be their own boss quickly. Have you noticed that? Most photographers want to be their own boss, whereas most other industries, it's usually, you know, you do an apprenticeship, you work for someone else, whatever. But all of a sudden, I can be a photographer. Let me pick up a camera.
But don't you think it's a lot? There's so much ego driven in this. I mean, the egos in this game are nuts.
The egos, yeah, look, certainly there are. And I've just realized, I love this saying, it's no need to be humble, you're not that great. Like, I love that saying because, like, I do, no, I do what I do well, but are there people better than me in different facets of what I do? Of course there is. But why should it rob me of my joy? That's like me playing tennis and I'll only be happy if I win. Well, that's ludicrous.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest, whenever there's a sport, like I like go-kart racing as a good analogy because go-kart racing, being first is not the funnest at all. Being second, third, fourth, even last, when you're chasing someone in front of you, man, it's so much fun.
Strive.
When you're in front, you're doing this. And I remember when I was coming up in the industry, my peer group was always 10, 15 years older than me. And I got a lot of heat from them. I'm not going to obviously dare mention who they are, but there was a lot of heat from those people. And I wasn't even trying to compete. They sort of made it a competition. Well, I'm like, I'm just being myself. The fact that I'm doing this or I'm doing that, and that's where my favorite sayings come along. You don't have to be the best. You simply have to be better than last week. So you're never competing with anyone as long as you're competing with yourself from last week. So incrementally, if every time I shoot, I learn a quicker way, more efficient way, a more fun way to get there, then that's great.
Yeah.
So why would I compare myself to a Michael Jordan if he's the greatest player who ever lived? Arguably, let's have that conversation. And why would I even play the game? Well, I want to play with that person so I can become better. I want to learn from that person so I can play better. So I'm maximizing my constitution, what I was born with, how I was nurtured, and the work I put in. And I think this is the pocket, and not enough people speak about this, is we are either we do the work and we're happy, we don't do the work and we self-deprecate, but that most people are in the pocket in the middle. I know I could do better. I know I need to work harder, more efficient, smarter, and you're always unhappy. In other words, as a metaphor, let's say you want to work out. Okay, you need to work out. You look in the mirror, say, you know what, I can lose a few pounds. I'm not feeling that healthy. I'm just going to hit the gym. People don't see quick results. They quit. Then they begrudge themselves, say, I'm overweight, I'm not healthy. I just say, either do the work and be happy or don't do the work and be at peace.
Well, I think a lot of people chase being best instead of being unique and genuine. So I think that's when they start emulating what they think is best instead of being who they are, or putting something in this world that's something new, that's worth the attention. I'm in the big belief of, if you want people to pay attention to you, you have to earn it. And I think a lot of people just get stuck in this cycle of emulation, trying to be the best. We used to have a gaming division here in Adorama. I ran it, and we had these gaming tournaments here, and there was a kid in that corner. No one was playing with him. And every time he had just not a perfect moment, he reset the game. And some father was watching him, and he goes, that kid's going to be a psychopath, and left. And I was like, yeah, because if you think it's only worth it if it's perfect, or it's only worth it if it's best, you're missing the point, and you're always going to be miserable.
Well, it's creative too. We're in an artistic field. There is no right way.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
You know, another one of my favorite sayings is like, creatives aren't short of ideas. The challenge is committing to one.
Yeah. I try to tell people, do the shots you want to take, not the shots you think you should take, like emulating. But I think what they don't realize is that you have to decide what is success for you. If you do the shots you want, the work you want, whatever creative you're painting, whatever, if you put it out there and you're not generating an audience and you feel it deserves an audience, that's when you start saying, well, is it still successful because I'm happy with it? Or is success to you building the audience? Because if that's the case, you're going to alter your style till it's more palpable for a mass audience. That's why we have mainstream and we have other things.
Right.
You know, and I think you have to start making hard decisions for yourself about what you really want. Because it's all on you. It always is all on you, you know?
I think people have to reverse engineer what I love what you said, that what their version of success is, but truly what their version of success is, because people see success as being popular. And sometimes
yes.
having a big following on social media is like being rich at Monopoly. It's fun, but
big numbers go up. My brain happy. What are you talking about? Numbers go up.
That and it lasts 10 seconds, man. Like I'd rather be a hero to my wife and my golden doodles and my clients.
You're just old school.
But I felt this way for my whole career.
What are you talking about? Don't you want validation from pure strangers that will never do anything for you or help your life in any way? Are you sure? Are you okay? Are you okay, sir? There is a question from Mr. Smith asking, how would you suggest about a new photographer finding a mentor or becoming an assistant?
I would look within the genre that they specialize in their area. I would look for someone that is experienced. Do your homework. Who's got the personality that may match yours, and offer to carry their bags and literally ask for no money. And if it's a wedding photographer, as an example, the biggest mistake that people make with wedding photographers is they want a second shoot, and you'll learn nothing because you're after the hero shot. You're doing whatever you're doing. I want to carry your bags. I want to hold your lights. Because I believe wedding photography, having been my main genre for most of my career, is the best way to learn almost any genre in photography. So carry the bags of an experienced wedding photographer. You will learn portraits, headshots, full length, close up. Take the veil off. It's a girl. Take her clothes off. It's boudoir. She's pregnant. It's maternity. There's children. There's family. There's pets. There's streetscapes, landscapes, time constraints, weather constraints, normal people. If you can do a wedding well, you can do pretty much anything well. And ultimately, people's skills on the wedding and problem solving and patience and when to push back, push forward, and working with different cultures, it's invaluable. And it's invaluable. Absolutely.
And don't get discouraged. One email isn't going to get answered. And I would add to that, try to mention something about their work that actually you connect with. If you go like, hey, I saw this shot, it really inspired, whatever. If there's something about it you can actually talk about, that says a lot more than cold email. Nothing that's said in that email that makes me think that you're worth my time or whatever. Like if there's some connective point, that's when I would bring in assistance by people that are actually investing in as much as they can to saying they want to be part of whatever I'm trying to produce. There is another question from Roger Manning. What is the backstory of the creation of your ice light? Can we pull up the ice light?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Thank you.
Let's unzip
Round of applause for Eric, everybody in the chat. So this when was the first one out? I feel like this has been around a long time.
Yeah, I think the first one was in 2011. I want to say, it could be a bit more or less, but that's roughly what it is.
This was before everyone made tubes. Just so you guys understand, like now everyone makes tubes. This was the beginning. And I remember him showing the sketches, like if you make this thing that looks like this thing, does this thing, and no one really was getting it. And then it came out, and I was like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. So I'm a Star Wars fan. I saw the glows of light over, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then what happened was the Australians were very advanced in wedding photography. We brought a fashion element to the photography world that the Americans didn't have. The Americans were very traditional, very, very much your standard portraits. And then there's a handful of photographers and I that sort of penetrated the market in America, different competitions, different things, and we brought this different element. Thank you so much.
Look at the beauty.
Look at that. Oh my God.
Beauty.
Oh, I was like a 6 before. Now I'm like an 11.
We just need a pizza box in there. We're done.
We can call this a breadstick and pizza. I don't know. Oh my God. This is funny. We should do limited edition, like little stickers or something like that. So then, so what happened was we'd be on a wedding day, and then the videographers would have video lights. And, we're at the beach and I'm like, oh, can you point the video light over here? And then I just got sick of asking. I just thought that was a video product. And then I'm like, well, I want a light for myself. So I bought a light myself. And back then it was like the Lowell ID light. And then there was that's like 30 odd years ago.
Lowell was like the Chevy of lighting. Like, I mean, you're talking about halogen bulbs and like metal casings that was, and I love you, Lowell. I'll always love you, your total lights and all that stuff. But that's what that industry was at that time. Yeah.
So basically I thought to myself, well, what would be a great portable light that I could carry with me? And I'm like, you know what? A cylindrical light, like a lightsaber, would be amazing. So I did a search and nothing existed. That category just did not exist. So you press and turn. So it's like this. and then it goes on.
Click.
With the there's little UV stuff it's very unassuming. All the all the little logos are all unassuming. Yeah, I'll just show you.
Come on,
but anyway,
they're gonna want sound bites and they'll be like, "Oh, you interrupt him." Just come on.
So anyway, I basically I was looking for a light source, like again a cylindrical light source that I could use in different ways. Something small, something portable. Vertical because it can make things look sharp if you hold it vertical to a subject. Horizontal so it can look a bit softer. I can put it in the visor of a car. I can hide it behind corners. It's very unassuming, and that was it. So I looked for it and it didn't exist. So I'm like, I got two choices now. Do I invent it myself, as in invent it and produce it, engineer it, and do all that homework, or go to a leader in the industry in continuous lighting? So I did my homework, and Westcott was a clear winner at that point. Now, they were very much all into fluorescent. It was all continuous fluorescent back then.
Which is not a good color spectrum.
Yeah, like it tend to be a little bit green and not perfect. But, you know, LEDs just weren't a thing. So then we did some homework, and then long story short, I'm like, do I... an NDA to the company. And then I said, hey, how about we be partners on this? It's my invention, my patent, my trademark, but you guys produce it. And we call it, designed by me and sculpted by Westcott. And that's what happened. We came up with the first light and people loved it, man. It was so different. The barn doors were exceptional. And it's been an incredible ride. It's been one of my proudest moments in my career was Sir Richard Attenborough was lighting up the Galapagos Islands on one of his documentaries with his voice. A knight was holding my sword, so to speak. And I've seen it in movies and music videos and all that stuff. And it's been incredible. So, and yourself, a product when a photographer or filmmaker has designed it, because they think of things that an engineer wouldn't. Like, this is, you're on the road, you're doing your stuff, you're in the field. This is what I would do. And then it comes to the third version, and like, what do we do now? Well, the many points of difference is that now this can be collapsed.
The NATO rail.
The NATO rail, yeah. So it can basically be collapsed. So now we have a cap that goes on there. So you can basically use this independent of the power. So it's AC, DC. If you're a filmmaker, you'll know what a NATO rail is. The NATO rail is there, which means you can clamp it. Even on your cage, you can clamp it over, put this in your V-mount battery. You've got quarter 20 thread here, quarter 20 thread here. You've got quarter 20, there's 4 of them, plus 3/8. And then you've got your anti-twist, which if you're a filmmaker, if you put it in, it's not going to twist on you, or you can put any kind of attachments. And then the second and the first version had barn doors that clipped like this and opened. We had to have it like a padded, glorified pencil case so they wouldn't collapse. And then I'm like, we've got to come up with a clever solution. So I said to the team, let's do sort of somewhat hidden channels on either side of it so you can hardly see it. So then what we did is we created barn doors that, again, fit into the channel.
And guys, just so you know, 5 o'clock today, since this is live on the events channel, my man's going to shoot this live. So you're going to get an actual demo. It's a class, not a QVC thing, I promise. All right? But I feel like it's we don't get we get signature gear, but not from the ground up design gear from photographers. And I think this is one of those things that was one of the first I feel that was out there. I feel like I can't think of too many things that were actually designed. There's a lot of things they slap your name on. Put a sticker on it.
No, well, I'm very proud to say this is my invention. This was a category that I began. And I've got to be honest too, in the beginning stages of this, I had to fight off a lot of people, like legally. And it got to the point where there were just too many and I couldn't fight them all. But then at that point, we became the form factor. We became the Kleenex of tissues, as in the ice light was that form factor.
I still have. I have a keychain that's an ice light. You guys
yeah. We had the small ones.
I was like, man, where'd they get these made? And it actually lights up. This is amazing.
So the idea is that you can funnel the light and channel the light really, really well, which I absolutely love. And then it's bicolor. You got 2 versions of bicolor model. So yellow to white, and then you've got RGB, WW, any color of the rainbow, including warm and white. And also, I just love the form factor in a sense that the buttons are really intuitive. So I love myself a manual button. I think the manual buttons are really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool for light painting. It sounds dumb,
Yeah.
but when you want to just cut the light and walk out of frame or get to a different part of the frame without leaving a streak for light painting,
Yeah.
being able to click on and off with an actual switch rather than a hold down, press, spin a dial, you know, all those things. It's actually like a dumb little thing, but for the applications,
It's thoughtful.
It's good.
Well, that's the thing, though. So to carry on here, so the switch is manual, but the light goes on. But there is a standby mode that takes off the LED.
Okay.
And then you can go through different effects. So if you do filmmaking, if you want an ambulance, if you want fire, if you want fireworks, if you want a strobe effect, you can get in there and do all those different things. So it's very intuitive. Most people, without even reading the manual, will know how to look at it. But man, I just love it. Like I said, I'm very proud of it.
Michelle, it'll be streamed.
Shots.
It's streamed on the new channel, Adorama Events, at 5 p.m. Eastern today. And it'll be up there after the fact, but join us for live for that. And that's a new channel. A lot of you guys think you're following that channel. You're not. You're following this channel. This is the main channel that we've grown for 15 years. Shout out to Fernando and the rest of the crew. But the new channel, Events, is everything we stream out of here, including this guy, who I'm really glad I saw you at WPPI, because I was like, you're going to be here.
Yeah.
Why don't you shoot? And he was like, gee, mate, I don't really want to shoot, man. And then I was like, come on, Jerry. He's like, okay. He was like, okay.
Of course I want to shoot. Why wouldn't I want to shoot?
Nah, he's always very down for it. And I will say, as far as an educator goes, Jerry's one of these very constantly giving people. And if you ask him something really quick, it's never a quick answer. But that kind of shows how much you really care to give an answer rather than like, I'm walking over here. I got to go, kid. Like,
right.
Nah, and I really do appreciate that. I think we need more of that in industry if we want a future of an industry, which is partly why I do what we're doing. But
yeah,
I think it's also really cool to be able to make the tools you want to make, find brands that believe in the vision you have.
Right.
And don't forget, these brands are investing in your idea.
Sure.
You know, and this is the third version of it. This is going on, what do you got, like 15 years of Ice Light going on?
Yes, 14, yeah, give or take, yeah.
So you're going to do like an anniversary thing? You got to do a Star Wars anniversry edition. You got to get some like licensing.
Did you ever see my first commercial that I produced?
Definitely not.
Dude, okay, so what do I
look like?
To be honest, I was really I put the bundles the wrong way. That's when you can tell. When you've got the logo on the outside, you've got to flip it on the outside.
Guys, the logo, it's going to change your light by 0.7%. Look at how tight that is.
So what I did was, when I released the Ice Light, I wanted to do a different kind of a commercial, but not like, here's the features, this is what it does, whatever. So I ended up, you'll see me in this video where I am doing a fashion shoot. And then I casually, I'm adjusting the model's hair. I look at my watch, and then I grab the light and I just bolt. I run all around the city in Melbourne. So you see landmarks, you know, in different places, and I'm struggling. I need to get to where I need to go. I go past the Melbourne Casino. There's fireballs going off, as it happens every hour. So you see this urgency, and then I'm running with the light, and it's illuminating my face as I'm running. Then finally, I walk past this van of these kids coming out, and the kid's got a Darth Vader helmet. And he's just annoying his sister. And as I'm running, I just knock the lightsaber out of his hand, and I just keep on smiling as I'm keeping on running. Then you see this, serious, this is all true. Then maybe we can find the link and put it up for the guys. Then this old lady walks into this house. I run past her just in time. I turn the light on, and that's how she sees her keys to open up the door. It's my mother. And then
your actual mom?
My actual mom, yeah, who's now passed, so it's even more meaningful to me now. And then she says, what took you so long? And then I close the door, and it says, same time tomorrow. And that was a commercial.
That's crazy.
So just at WPPI, I released the latest video. And I don't know if you know, I produced the Nikon Filmmakers Wedding Workshop a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
So if you saw that, if you saw a whole bunch of stuff, there was like, yeah, a filmmakers workshop in Vegas. So Melissa and I produced it. I gave the Ice Light 2s in amongst everyone dancing. And as soon as I gave the Ice Light 2s, everyone just started going nuts like a moth to the flame. Yeah. And I'm like, I've got an idea for a music video. So the following week, I got 20 of my friends, and we did a nightclub scene, and everyone started dancing, and the light was just perfect. I didn't even shoot the footage on RAW. It was like 10-bit ProRes SDR. And I just matched the Kelvin degrees with this light, and it was perfect. It was perfect. So
yeah, I got to tell you, I didn't even know you were doing video till I want to say the Z9 or 8 came out, and they showed me this woman singing in a crazy mansion. It was a video.
Oh, that was a music. Yeah, it was the first 8K video.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is great. What filmmaker did you sign up to Nikon? And like, Jerry did this. And I was like, wait, what? And then they showed me BTS of you like tapping your foot the whole time while you're filming this. I'm like, what is this guy not doing anymore? Like every time I turn around, like Jerry's doing another thing, but I'm sure it opened up a whole new avenue for you, especially when you're a guy who created a constant light. And I also want to say, not that I'm not trying to tell you guys anything, but it's one of the few that of this form factor that's actually even. A lot of them have like a hot spot down the center.
Right. And
this one's really clean. And I think that's whenever someone brought up the ice light over the 14 years of it, I've always thought it's just a clean light. It's clean. I don't have to think about it. The color fidelity's there. It's been a really, I got to tell you, I don't think tubes would have been, they would have got there, but you were there before anybody. I mean, there's tubes everywhere. Right. Everything's a tube now.
Right.
I think it's kind of nuts. Do you ever think like to do like a monster version of this, like super long?
I had these ideas from the beginning, but it's easy for me to say to Westcott, here's what you should do. But tooling one of these costs hundreds of thousands. Like we're not talking every little piece and that you can't see as well needs to be tooled by something.
Yeah.
So you sort of underestimate what it takes to produce anything. That's why if I have a choice and I know that this person or that company started it, I respect the originator because I know how that feels. Like, I mean, I even had someone illuminating me with a knockoff at WPPI for an interview. I said, how about we start off this interview more respectfully by illuminating me with my own light? Would that be okay? Now, I wasn't a bitch about it. I said it tongue in cheek, but they were sort of so blatantly holding it. Dude, you got it in my face, a knockoff, whether you know it or you don't. Like, dude, just, Anyway, so we laughed about it.
There's a question Roger Man is asking, for your performer photos in Vegas, are they primarily studio portrait or photo call show action on stage?
So which website we're talking about?
They're asking about if when you're shooting your performers in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Studio portrait or?
Oh, they're a bit of everything. So from my home studio to on location to the performance itself. Hopefully soon I'll release it, but I did this incredible project for Dita Von Teese, who's like the world's premier burlesque dancer. She was a joy to work with. And I did this incredible, beautiful creation for her. When I say creation, a physical thing that
she's a modern icon.
Yeah, she's an icon. So I'm like, what do you do for someone who's gotten everything? Can I tell you that this project incorporated almost everything that I've learned over the years? So
it's a cool moment.
I can't show you, but I can tell you about it because I'm very excited about it. But basically I produced this album of the event. That was the least exciting bit, although they were really beautiful photographs. But I don't take credit for it. I captured it. The lighting was there. It's like, how hard is it? But I composed them well and all was fine. What surrounded the project, that's where it gets exciting. So the actual book that I gave for her, so imagine a photograph of her corset. I put that on the cover. So this is through Graphy Studio. I cut the corset right at her cleavage. The album fits perfectly with her bust over the corset of the cleavage. Mm-hmm. So if you look at it, you just see her neck and her bust and her bodice, but it's actually the book that comes out. Then when you open up the book, a photograph was turned into a tattoo. That becomes the repeating pattern of the lining of the book. When you lift up that book, the box itself has an engraving, laser engraved of the tattoo on the bottom of the box. The lid has a lenticular print. A lenticular, for those of you who don't know what a lenticular is, when you go past a movie theater and a movie poster changes 3-4 times. So she's on that cowboy rocking horse and she's doing her little, sexy little number. And then you basically see her shoes with the red soles because she's supported by Christian Louboutin, then half her body and then basically her leaning back. So that was the lenticular. Yeah. That bottom of the box, we made a red leather sole to pay homage to Mr. Louboutin. Mm. Then that was just the book in the box. Then I shot 3D one night and I made her a Viewmaster. So I got a reel and you put it in. This is like Friday. She was putting it in and she was doing this. She goes, oh my God, my audience will eat this stuff up. She goes, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And then I gave her an acrylic block, double-sided with a leather insert, and basically was her last goodbye at the Jubilee Theatre. Mm. The Jubilee Theatre has got a long history of incredible performers, and now she's at the Voltaire in Venetian. But that was just that for me is an example of the goosebumps from the process. I had zero expectation on how she would react to it. In fact, I have zero expectation of anyone. That's how I remain very happy, because you normally get upset when you expect too much of anyone. Long story short, she was so gracious, and we were there for about an hour and a half in the green room with some close friends of mine who were some dancers. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful sort of little finale to what was a beautiful process. So yeah, man, I'm obsessed with being creative. I really love it, and I do it for me and my clients. And again, I don't wait for the validation from anyone to exercise my happiness. Don't get me wrong. I want people to be happy, of course. Is it feel good in a moment? Yes. But I need to feel incredible throughout the whole time. Otherwise, why am I doing it?
Yeah. And also I think when you're working at a level or in depth as much as you are, like, that's when you build legacies. It's not just, I shot some stuff. There's some photos I did, and everyone's like, well, everybody shoots now. Everybody's a star. It's like, you can build legacies if you get deeper, harder. You really want it. If you have to really want to do it, you have to really, really want it. I think you'll get the most out of yourself. And you have to be honest with yourself. If you really, really want to do it, what are you doing it for? And if it's to make big numbers go up so brain go happy, you know, good luck with that. Because I think if you build your house in other people's backyards, the second that house goes away, like look what happened when TikTok went away for 18 hours and everybody lost their mind. You know, that's crazy if you think about how much we're leaning on that. Guys, we're at the last bit of this. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the chat now. But if not, 5 p.m. Eastern today, my man's shooting live. I'm going to put him in here. I'm going to chain him to the floor so he can't leave. And he's going to shoot live for you guys. You have a good model tonight, too.
Fantastic. That's funny. They said that the video is on Jerry's YouTube channel, so that's fun.
Okay.
Jerry has a double blessing. He's Greek and he's Aussie. He's proof that Greek kids raised by strict Greek immigrants, parents can dream big. There you go. That's awesome.
I mean, I got a Greek father, so I can speak to that. And you know, I think if you get anything out of this, I think if you forget about what was said, see how it was said, right? Like how much goes into it. If you're not really passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to come out with something you're proud of in the end. And I think everything I've ever seen you approach, you really care about it. You really, really do. And it comes across as genuine. People feed on that. And then, I mean, I've seen people in seconds just like, I feel like they've known you forever, Jerry. It's just kind of nuts. You have this weird, it's very weird. Every now and then I'm like, are you picking my pocket? What are you doing? Are you robbing me? Am I not? Like, what is going on here? You know, it's very, I'm really glad I got you in here. And I think it's, you're always welcome here. And I hope that we can do some more stuff with you. I'm glad that I got you coming in later today to do the demo, but check out the links down below for everything Westcott. This is in pre-order right now, I think.
I believe you guys have among the first in the world to get stock. So I think you'll have stock by now. Okay. And this is a steal. When I heard the wholesale, the retail price, like this is $220 for the bicolor and $280 for the RGB. Knowing what went into it in the last couple of years, just knowing every piece of this, having rejected 5 samples, people don't know that. When I looked at it, like, no, not good enough. We kept on going, and like, all right, now I'm proud of it. Now we can get it out there in the world. So the fact that it's this affordable, support Adorama. You're on this channel. You should support your local dealer here.
And shout out to Westcott for letting him reject 5 versions of it. Like, Jerry, it's good enough. We got it. A lot of brands don't have that patience or want to invest again, because every time you retool something, it's thousands, it's months. Yeah. You know, I don't think people realize what goes into bringing a product to market. I know this from my in-depth pizza box development. I mean, it was a million. You have no idea how many hours. No, thank you guys for joining. Matthews is in there. So Matthews asking, what do you think about C-stands? All right. First of all, I know that's Martine as Matthews in there, but
you mean that's not a real name?
Come on. Well, Matthews is a legacy too. I'm actually pretty psyched on this era we're in. We're seeing like companies that have been trusted for so many years now becoming like the staple for 30, 40, 50. Like now it's that time. I mean, Nikon, you're an ambassador, 100 years. It's a big deal. A century. Yeah. What's been photographed through the gear and the iconic images and the things from a century. Like, can you wrap your heads around that? Yeah. And that's like a lot of brands are hitting a century. It's just, I just think it's a really cool moment, especially as growing up in my whole life, I grew up in this industry. So it's just cool. And I think I'm very thankful for guys like you being a part of this and being leaders in this industry. And you're always down to share something. So I don't know. You want to leave them with something? Anything you want to promote or?
No, man. I just want to say thank you to you, because I've seen you over the years. I've seen you're always active. You're always doing things, but you are often in a position where you thank everybody else. So I just want to say, mate, like from afar and from close, You've always been very gracious. You give a lot of value to a lot of people in what you're doing here. There's a lot of things you don't have to do. So the fact is that the ripple effect of what you're doing, what you say, when you say it, how you say it, it's refreshing to have someone that's just no bull, just totally tells it like it is. You can't be manipulated. This is just a passion of yours that you want to share. So on behalf of everyone else that's learned from you and heard from you, you're kicking ass and keep on doing it for you and for the industry, mate. So well done.
I appreciate it. I feel like this was the only way I could do what a lot of old guys did for me. Let me carry their bags and their 4x5s and their medium formats. And I think that's a lost thing in this era. I see a lot of people not going that route. And, you know, Joe McNally always said, like, there's a lot of guys that pulled up that ladder behind them. And if you want a future, you got to pull up the next ones. And I don't want to die with a skull full of stuff I didn't share.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If that kid does something that fires up the next kid and ignites the fuel in another skull, let's go. Let's go. Let's see what we got and let's go forward. It's up to us. So guys, follow Jerry if you don't know him, which I can't imagine you don't know Jerry. It's Rex Manning Day here at Adorama though. So I got Jerry coming in later, 5 o'clock on the Adorama Events channel. I think the up top is pinned the link. And go follow my man and check out the Ice Light 3. Links down below. And we will see you hopefully later today at 5 o'clock. Jerry, thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much, mate. Appreciate it. Absolute pleasure.
Boom and